Good afternoon. On behalf of Group 33, I'm delighted to welcome you to our presentation. My name is Gian O'Connell and I will be telling you about the impact of COVID-19 on Irish food retailers, and I will also be discussing the importance of workforce protection at the start of a crisis such as COVID-19. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of the actions organisations can take to respond to crises such as COVID. Each team member will be presenting their crisis response action, and Jennifer will be discussing recommendations to aid organisations in becoming better prepared for future crises. The unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic catapulted Irish food retailers into a sink or swim situation. Food retailers were deemed as essential services by the government in Ireland and remained open throughout the duration of the pandemic. However, food retailers had to implement drastic changes in order to respond to COVID. Workforce protection is recommended as one of the initial first actions businesses should take at the start of a crisis. The importance of workforce protection was highlighted through government directives such as the Work Safely Protocol. This directive places the onus on employers to provide a safe workplace for their staff. Another important element of workforce protection is safeguarding employees' mental well-being during a crisis. If employees are struggling with mental health issues, this may result in them becoming overwhelmed and unproductive, which will have negative effects on a business's bottom line. In food retail industry, employees are a major asset in relation to solving the problems caused by COVID and may also identify potential opportunities. To conclude, central to every organisation is its employees. Hence, organisations need to prioritise workforce protection first and foremost, both for organisational survival and functioning. Thank you. I'll now pass you on to my colleague Jennifer O'Connell, who will be discussing supply chain stabilisation.
Thank you, Jen. To begin, without a secure supply chain, businesses cannot trade. A firm's ability to operate is determined by the weakest link in its supply chain. This was highlighted in an article by McKinsey & Company and shows the importance of every link in the supply chain and the impact of any shortcoming in any area can have. The importance of sourcing alternative suppliers and close substitute products is essential in order to help keep stock levels at an acceptable level and keep products on the shelves. Such alternative suppliers include local cash and carries and value centres. This report on crisis management also highlighted the importance of wholesalers and logistical partners such as BWG and Musgraves. These partners help stabilise the supply chains of even the smallest of food retail stores. The supply chains of the entire food industry is fragile and susceptible to shortages without their contributions. I will now pass you on to my colleague Brian, who will be discussing customer engagement during a crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. There has been a devastating impact on the food retail industry from the COVID-19 pandemic. The section I will be covering is customer engagement. Retaining customer engagement was very challenging for the bar and restaurant I chose to interview. Firstly, I asked what effect the pandemic had on the business. Pre-COVID, the business ran freely through every department. Face-to-face, customers sitting wherever they wanted. Post-COVID, most things changed. No ordering at the bar, face masks mandatory, assigned seating, and no more music on Sunday nights. I then asked what sort of strategies the business took on to reach out to new customers. The main plan was to create and keep posting daily on their new Instagram profile. This profile then began to do raffles and giveaways to gain some publicity and hopefully new customers in the long run. This is a citation from a journal that effective communication was vital in response to the crisis. The company I interviewed focused more on the technology side to remain in touch with the customers. This is the most effective way as technology is expanding and improving every day. Finally, in the interview, I posed the question of what would have been done differently to prepare for the crisis. Strictness on customers and staff was very important to this company, as I was told they were easygoing at the start, but began to realise the importance of hand washing, face covering, and keeping your distance. Thank you for your time. I will now pass you on to Thomas, who studied the section Financial Stress Testing.
Thanks, Brian. I specifically studied how financial stress testing helps an organisation during times of crisis. And when I was studying this, I noticed that organisations were able to gather prior information on the impact the COVID-19 crisis would have on them. So companies were able to prepare for the impact that COVID-19 would have on them because of financial stress testing. Organisations could plan how best to cope financially with the crisis. So organisations could budget for the COVID-19 crisis and what to do to stop the damage from being too bad. Financial stress testing makes it clearer as to how much the crisis could impact an organisation before challenging the organisation's survival. So, again, about the damage, this allowed organisations to see just how much damage they could take from the COVID-19 crisis without challenging their very survival. And finally, organisations' management could be more confident in dealing with the crisis, leading to more effective management. Managers were more confident that their organisation would be able to survive and knew exactly what to do because of financial stress testing. This stopped them from making rash decisions and helped them to manage more effectively through the crisis. Thank you. I will now pass you on to my colleague Tommy, who's going to look at nerve centre integration.
Cheers, Thomas. As Thomas mentioned, the crisis response I analysed was nerve centre integration. The nerve centre integration team is the coordinating head of the larger nerve centre structure. Its purpose is to set the overall tone of the COVID-19 response work, acting as a single source of truth in real time for all information actions related to the outbreak. A noticeable effect of COVID-19 on the store was the increased demand for dry goods and toilet roll. This was a key factor into the introduction of a rule only allowing a certain amount of customers in the store at once. However, I conducted an interview in the hope of gathering more information about the importance of connecting with shareholders. The most important shareholder of all is the customer, and Dunnes introduced a few strategies to remain connected with the customers. The first strategy implemented was signs put outside and inside the store regarding COVID-19 updates. Moreover, there were frequent messages played over the Tannoy system with updated rules and regulations in store regarding COVID-19. Alike, there were signs placed on the floor leading up to checkouts to ensure 2-meter intervals in between customers when checking out with their groceries. In conclusion, the importance of staying connected with consumers was highlighted to me when I conducted this interview. The ensure customers feel safe when shopping in store in a time of crisis is a priority for all stores. Moreover, customer retention is a priority, and remaining connected with customers allows the store to remain connected at all times. I'm now going to pass you on to Jennifer O'Connell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy. The main conclusion of this report was that effective crisis management is vital in order for firms to survive. And if firms fail to do so, they will do this at their own peril. The key recommendations of this report include establishing effective communication channels and the establishment of effective communication crisis team to help facilitate these plans. It is recommended that further research is done into the new form of supply chain management, known as extreme supply chain management, which holds an extremely promising future. Further recommendations include establishing scenario-based forecasting in order to aid financial stress testing of firms, and taking action earlier to ensure clear connection with all stakeholders is maintained. Overall, a multidisciplinary approach is crucial in order to implement effective crisis management. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and if you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to email us. Thank you.